So this is the presentation on next generation computing. So for the introduction, next generation computing is the development of hardware and software that is able to approach and solve challenges presented by the various domains and industries like energy consumption, data processing, and transfer rates. It is very important for scientific development, economic growth, and social well-being. IC scalability's physical limit is decreasing because of factors such as static and dynamic power. Any technology that needs to be replaced has to match a specific criteria and overcome any challenges because of rising costs stemming from new techniques and abundant usage of resources. So to determine everything, all the questions regarding the study, these are the two diagrams that show what kind of research was conducted. So this is the cluster map and this is the mind map. In this presentation, we'll be going over 4 topics called biocomputing, nanocomputing, spintronics, and optical/photonic computing. These topics were chosen because they are the most relevant topics shown in the publications from numerous institutes around the world. Preview of the technologies shown by them far surpass the likes of CMOS and Moore's law. They display a respectable shift to CMOS technology and allows a fluid transition. They also provide a flawless display of increased capabilities with no limitations. They provide insight on disruptive technologies. And finally, each of these topics also cross over with each other, making the research easier. So first, biocomputing is short for biologically inspired computing. Biocomputing investigates a vast range of computing approaches in a very meticulous manner. Some of these topics include algorithms, biological systems, membrane computing, swarm intelligence, cellular automata, neural computing, evolutionary computing, and DNA molecular computing. It produces a variety of diverse applications with features such as bioinformatics, machine learning, algorithm theory, etc. Biological systems all have some key elements in common, such as sensing and processing signals from an external environment, storing information in memory, and making quick decisions in order to enforce stability and growth. So first, membrane computing is a class of computing modules known as membrane systems, which are examined and have their structure extracted along with the function of biological membranes like living cells, organs, tissue, and bacteria colonies. Neuromorphic computing is a new computing paradigm that shows an alternate method to von Neumann architectures who aim to construct a machine capable of matching how the brain operates physically at a more functional and stable level. Finally, DNA computing, also known as molecular computing, it's a process that allows data to be encoded as biomolecules in the form of DNA or RNA strands and are able to transform with biology or perform arithmetic and logical operations. Neuromorphic devices are constructed from devices that follow and copy neurons at a physical and goal-oriented level. They are entirely engineered with area and power circuits which copy neuron behavior. Some of its key features include analog and stochastic programmability, cumulative and incremental programming, vast power consumption, and on and off radio and interconnection and density. Next is nanocomputing, which is a form of computing that makes brilliant and effective use of small nanoscale devices in order to construct faster and more reliable computers. The quantum dot cellular automata, is also known as QCA, is a transistorless computer paradigm that is also based on nanotechnology. QCA represents the information stored in cells, which is obtained through electromagnetic fields and electrons. So this is like a little diagram right here of QCA. You got the quantum cell and the dot, Next is nanomagnetic logic, also known as NML, which is an extension of QCA in which the information is examined and processed through magnetic field interactions in nanocells. NML is able to perform Boolean and non-Boolean operations. It must meet 5 essential conditions for digital systems, though. The first one is magnetic hysteresis loop, which ensures nonlinear response-based characteristics. Next one is complete, fully functional logic sets, which are delivered through 3-input majority gate. Signal amplification / gain is greater than 1. One device's output is able to successfully drive another. And finally, clocking prevents unwanted feedback. NML has many advantages, such as external clock source which can be moved on chip. It is able to develop magnetic interconnects that are reliable. It's able to develop electromagnetic field interface with chip integration. It has circuit reliability and fault tolerance to show improvement. It has successful management of thermal noise. Its data flow is to the nearest neighbor. It has low processing speed and higher latency. So nanoelectronics for 2020 and beyond is a nanotechnology signature initiative who aims to speed up the discovery and conceptual use of nanoscale fabrication processes and innovate concepts in order to create more extraordinary materials, architectures, systems, and devices so they can improve and advance the nanoelectronics field. Its main purposes are exploring new variables for state computing, fusing nanoelectronics and nanophotonics together, expanding and improving research on nanoelectronics, exploring carbon-based nanoelectronics, researching the nanoscale processes for quantum information science. Next is spintronics, which is also known as spin-based computing. It is an evolving technology that studies the spin and magnetic aspects of electrons. It's a concept that dates back to nanomagnetic logic due to it being the crunch and foundation of spin-based quantum computing. Magnetic tunnel junctions, also known as MTJ, and spin-torque transfer devices, also known as STT, are two kinds of devices that revived spintronics research in the 1970s by providing potential methods for CMOS technology replacement with the spin-based circuits such as magnetic random access memory, also known as MRAM, and spin transistors. Here are a couple of examples of spintronics. So first we have spin-torque domain wall, which is a boundary or interface that separates the different magnetization circuit directions along a racetrack. Spin majority gate, a device that contains a large number of inputs, outputs, and a specific number of control gates, all of which using spin logic and nanomagnets. Spin torque triad is similar to spin majority gate with the exception of consisting of triangular structures that contain 2 inputs and 1 output. Spin wave device is a type of magnetic logic that makes use of the spin waves for the purposes of information transmission and processing. 2 more spin-based logic devices and circuits are 3D magnetic ratchets and hybrid spintronics / straintronics. Next we have optical photonic computing. Optical computing performs computational tasks through the use of light or protons instead of electrons and electricity. Several photonic elements that are able to be passed as analogies of electronic elements include modulators, optical routers, light sources, photonic transistors, logic gates, and couplers. These all require proper design, construction, and materials to bypass the fundamental challenges brought by the principle and structure of protons and electrons. Optoelectronics is the field that combines optics and electronics, emphasizing a focus on devices that can detect, transmit, generate, and control light. It pretty much bridges the gap between electrical engineering and photonics, and as a result, it encourages the formation and use of a wide range of technologies. A few examples of optoelectronics being integrated into computer components existing today are Intel's Thunderbird, IBM's signal routing chip, and Luxtera and Infinera's optoelectronic integrated circuits. Silicon photonics and nanophotonics are the 2 subdomains in optical and photonic computing. Silicon photonics is a major material platform that allows integrated photonics to be implemented and creates photonic integrated circuits. Some of its advantages include lower cost, superior processing yield, low compact propagation loss, more compact optical waveguides, and better compatibility with CMOS tech. In order to obtain these photonic circuits, it's a long and difficult task as it requires the use of many divergent materials with the following advantages of superior performing devices, low power, reduced cost, high amount of capacity, reliability, yield, and volume, magnetic properties and non-linearity, reliable active photonic devices such as modulators, photodetectors, and lasers being suitable for functions. Nanophotonics is a section of nanotechnology that investigates the pattern of behavior and light on nanometer scales, along with the interactions of nanometer-sized objects with light. It is a fusion of photonic research and the concept of nanocomputing, which offers a different method of bypassing the limitations of electronic and regular photonic circuits. Matching the materials and architecture is the major challenge of nanophotonics. Plasmonics is a branch that focuses on the exploitation of surface-level plasmon polarities that are located in metal nanostructures, representing alternate ways to construct optical circuits that overcome the limits and challenges of electronics. Metasurfaces are two-dimensional materials that are ironed out ultra-thin artificial surfaces. They introduce a huge exciting potential for nanocomputing research due to plasmonic metasurfaces containing intercell band transitions in semiconductors, resulting in gigantic non-linear responses being observed. This makes it a monumental advantage over natural materials because of their superior non-linear optical responses, making it a crucial component in successful optical integration. Another opportunity and concept in nanophotonic computing is the use of protons or plasmons in creating quantum computers with the usage of light exhibiting quantum features at room temperature. Quantum computing's process has yet to be perfected because of its numerous challenges, requiring additional extensive research to overcome, such as build of quantum operations being halted due to photons not interacting with each other at full strain, the photons getting lost when trying to reach a receiver, meaning the information they're carrying is also lost and scattered. The use of amplifiers is discouraged because they corrupt the quantum elements because of the signal. Because of this, the field is yet to be further developed and has a prediction that states requiring the goal of integrated photonic circuits will need to use electronic, photonic, and plasmonic technologies all at once. To wrap this up, for the first one, the next generation computing is a large and complex field to fully explore and grasp at first. There's still a substantial amount of research that needs to be done, as this presentation only covers a small section, and it's estimated that there are required 10 years in order for the devices reviewed in this presentation to reach their full potential and arrive in the mainstream because of the extensive time required to research and develop them. And now for the second topic that we're going to do is the subtopic of biocomputing. Two subtopics which are called DNA computing and neuromorphic systems. So next generation computing is a complex subject that requires years of extensive research to fully cover due to a number of topics it's made up of, such as biocomputing. Biocomputing is a process of implementing computational devices through the use of molecular biology parts. And biocomputing also contains a vast number of subtopics, but only two of them will be covered in this presentation: DNA computing and neuromorphic systems. So to start off with DNA computing, it's also known as molecular computing. It's a field that combines the use of DNA and biomolecular components for computation, which offers many potential advantages and serves as an alternative approach to the standard electronic and parallel computation. DNA computing allows computers to operate and perform their respective functions through the use of DNA strands by having the instruction strands intertwined with the input data strands in order to produce the output data strand. The reason why DNA computing was founded was to be able to solve complex and complicated computational problems surrounding the computing time's growth, at the same time as non-deterministic polynomial complete problems. So molecular manipulation is deployed in order to solve computational problems and explores a natural process as computational models. The concept of DNA computing first made headlines back in 1994 at the University of Southern California, where Leonard Adleman utilized molecular biology tools to solve a computational problem. It is theorized that molecular computing could have the potential to surpass electronic computers and even outperform them, making it a very beneficial idea. Frameworks are a structural approach to utilizing DNA molecules in order to design and implement computations. Computers still use the same framework, even though there are numerous advantages in technological development, which results in a bunch of limitations such as clock frequency, heat dissipation, circuit integration dimensions, and power consumption. The advancement of modern processors can maintain the complexity of these issues, but there are still plenty of challenges that require far more superior capabilities. So, molecular biology is used to solve problems for two reasons. DNA's information density is far greater than silicon, and parallel operations of DNA due to single test tubes are able to carry millions of DNA strands. DNA is a double-stranded sequence which contains 4 nucleotides composed of a DNA strand, which are also known as bases. They are adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. DNA has two key functions: protein production code and self-replication. Deoxyribonucleotides contain 3 components: one sugar, which is comprised of 5 carbon atoms and hydroxyl group attached to 3 carbon, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base. DNA structure has a bond between 2 linear sequences of bases called Watson-Crick complementary. DNA takes the role of a major information storage molecule where it either duplicates or transmits the information to other DNA molecules. The process is possible with the manufacture of enzymes that then proceed to carry out the calculations ordered. A single strand of DNA is equivalent to a string containing 4 letters of the alphabet. These 4 letters are A, G, C, T. This makes it reliable as an electronic computer only requires 2 letters. DNA computation in computers takes place in test tubes or glass slides covered in 24K gold, while the input/output are DNA strands containing the genetic code encoding information. DNA computer programs are executed in the form of a series of biochemical operations. DNA computing has the proposed model of DNA computing are based on the following combinations: synthesizing, which is a desired polynomial length strand used in all models; mixing, which combines the content of 2 test tubes to form a 3rd test tube; annealing has 2 single-stranded complementary DNA sequences which are bonded together by cooling; melting has the double-stranded DNA broken into single-stranded complementary components by heating; amplifying has DNA strand copies created by polymerase chain reaction; separating, which uses strands to get electrophoresis, that makes separation of strands by lanes possible; extracting the strands with the given pattern as substring are extracted using affinity purification; cutting cuts the double strands at specific sites by using restriction enzymes; ligating are pasted DNA strands with compatible sticky ends by use of DNA ligases; substituting the DNA sequences are substituted, inserted, or deleted by using polymerase chain reaction; marking marks the single strands of DNA through process of hybridization; it destroys the marked strands by using exonucleases; and finally detecting and reading, which gives the contents in the tube. Either a yes or no will determine whether or not PCR is used to simplify the result. An enzyme-composed programmable molecular computing machine was first revealed in Weizmann Institute of Science in Rehovot, Israel. Its advantages include simultaneous performance of millions of operations, large amounts of working memory generation, low cost to build, complete list of potential solutions generated. Even one template strand allows for use of complement. Its disadvantages are that the smallest solutions require a large amount of memory, and error rates and incorrect encoding techniques are far too common. Neuromorphic computing is a computer engineering method. So now we're on to neuromorphic computing, but it's a computer engineering method in which elements of a computer are modeled and designed after systems that are located in the human brain and nervous system in order to mimic them. This process system contains electronic circuits and devices which are created from the use of design principles based on biological nervous systems. The usage of memory structures is the key difference between neuromorphic systems and information processing systems. Neuromorphic technology is unable to be exploited as much due to the scarcity of products that are able to utilize it due to the limited scope and time of this field. An autonomous system is the simple system in which it benefits from extremely compact and low power features of neuromorphic hardware technology. An example of this would be a sensory processing system or brain-machine interface. Von Neumann architecture-based computers have one or more CPUs separated from the program and data and memory elements. Central processing units access both the program and data memory using the exact same shared resources. CPUs are usually set idle due to the limited throughput between processors and memory. A deep network is a network consisting of numerous layers of neurons and are usually the optimal choice for network architecture. Networks that contain multi-layered feed-forward network architecture, which also have neurons receiving input from multiple neurons in the previous layer and produce an output, are called convolutional networks. These networks are inspired by the visual structure of mammals and are used for functions such as image processing and vision tasks. It's usually implemented on CPUs and GPUs because of their usage of incredible power. So these are the networks that are being implemented through two approaches. Frame-based approach, where the flow architecture relies on a 2D grid of processing tiles, and event-based approach, where the system consists of 4 end random chips, which are then extended and used for implementing large-scale networks. A deep belief network, also known as DBN, is a special class of deep neural networks with generative properties and consists of pairs of Boltzmann machines. DBNs are also used for numerous benchmarking tasks and functions. A Minotaur system is a system which operates in a parallel way by construction and has each unit processing local data and memory sources. Constructing custom processing and memory optimized routing schemes is necessary in order to map the architectures on the FPGAs, DSPs, or other von Neumann systems. A spinnaker is a system in which a multi-core computer designed with the intention of simulating and mimicking the behavior of a billion neurons in real time. Spinnaker systems are also known as system and packages devices, which represent and host a platform for large-scale neuron computational model simulations. A neural grid is a system whose purpose is to implement and emulate the functions of large-scale neural models. It follows the original neuromorphic vision, in which it uses analog/digital mixed signal sub-threshold circuits to produce timed neural processing elements. The neural grid system is built off of 16 CMOS neural core chips, which are connected in a tree network. Basically, this is designed to implement computational models that are able to be ran in real time and have been used in machine brain applications, as well as having controlled robotic agents. True North is a complete custom spiking neural network that represents an advancement from the classic von Neumann structures. True North has electronic circuits that are fully asynchronous and communicate with each other through event-driven methods despite using transistors. The architecture has 4,096 spiking neural network cores to be integrated into a single CMOS chip. It distributes memory across the whole network despite being inferior and less flexible than the Spinnaker system. BrainScales is a project that intends to create a wafer-safe neural simulation platform with the goal of aiming to build a custom mixed-signal analog/digital simulation engine that is able to implement multiple computational equations and is able to produce results as fast as possible. BrainScales contains synaptic circuits which form memory elements, which are then used to store the state of the network, which is also similar to neural grid systems. Plasticity is a form that mediates adaptation and learning mechanisms in neural systems and operating on timescales. Some of these examples include structural plasticity, homeostatic plasticity, long-term attention mechanism, long-term depression mechanism, short-term plasticity mechanism. So, structural plasticity is the brain's ability to make changes in its structure in a physical level. Homeostatic plasticity is a self-stabilizing mechanism that is used for maintaining the activity of neurons within proper boundaries and operates on long time scales. Long-term plasticity is the process in which timescales are operated from fractions to milliseconds to hundreds of milliseconds. Short-term plasticity is the mechanism that is in charge of constructing large, long-lasting changes in individual synapses. And finally, spike timing dependent plasticity is the rule stating that updating the efficiency of a synapse is determined by the relative timing of pre and post synaptic strikes or spikes. Attractor networks are the networks of neurons that are repeatedly connected by synapses and are able to settle in forms of stable patterns of firing even after having the external stimulus removed. Winner-take-all networks are a class of extracted networks that contain groups of neurons which cooperate in computing against each other. Reconfigurable online spiking neuromorphic processor is the device that implements spiking neural networks, which is used to slow neuromorphic circuits that directly emulate the physics and properties of neural networks. Its goal was integrating as many nonlinear synapses as possible for use of exploring and distributed memory and the information processing capabilities. To wrap this up now, an additional research is needed for building complex cognitive computing systems that are low, compact, and powered. Its goal is to exploit any non-volatile memory properties of these devices and their ability to track their past dynamics in order to create parallel arrays of nanoscale elements, which are then integrated in neuromorphic VSLI devices and systems. Resistive random access memory is a technology showing great promise in which it takes advantage of resistive switching phenomena, and is very appealing due to its explosion and compatibility with CMOS technology. Additional proposals and approaches to the memory state resistance include spin transfer, torque, magnetic random access memories, ferroelectric devices, and phase change materials. And finally, these are all the references I used for this presentation. And that's it. So, yeah.